Hey folks, thanks for joining us this evening. We're gonna give it a couple of minutes to allow everybody to join. Um, just hold tight and we'll get started in just a minute or two. I see Paul and Rob are both on. Hey guys, we got about 45 folks that are on the line as well. I think we're gonna give it just another minute and see if anybody else, give folks a chance to join in, and then we'll get underway. Thanks everybody for joining us on this Monday evening. It's I think a warming thought to think about, what we're going to be doing next July and August. Although it wasn't too bad out there today, but we know that the cold weather's coming. All right. I do already see that there's a hand up in the chat. We ask that, we will have extensive time for Q&A at the end. If you do have any questions, you can put them in the chat or in the Q&A function on the webinar. And we will have folks from our team that are going through and answering any questions. We are recording this webinar as well. The recording will be made available to those who you have to leave early for some reason, or if you have to, if you want to share it with somebody who wasn't able to make it this evening. We're going to be sending around an email to everybody that registered for the webinar to share out the recording of the webinar. So with that, I think we'll get started. And I'm going to hand it over to our Executive Director of PTNY, Paul Steely-White. So Paul, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Dylan. Hello, everyone. How you doing? Uh, really happy to be here with you this evening. Dismayed that we're not in person, but looking forward to meeting all of you on at least one of our summer tours. As Dylan said, my name is Paul Steely-White. I'm very fortunate to be the Executive Director of Parks and Trails New York, a wonderful organization that many of you, I hope, are already familiar with, and the work that we do to improve New York State's park system and, of course, expand this glorious Greenway Trail network that you're going to experience up front and personal in July and August or August. I'm sure some of you are doing both. Dylan, can you go back for a sec? I want to
Yeah.
just say a word about that first slide. Okay, this is the group photo that we took a few years ago at the end of Cycle to Hudson Valley, and that is Brooklyn Bridge Park. Not really representative of most of the landscapes you're going to see on the route, which is much more rural and bucolic. But of course, this is a highlight of the ride, and we're very lucky to have good friends there at Brooklyn Bridge Park. And as you'll discover, if you're doing Hudson Valley, you'll discover that New York City is, of course, on the Manhattan waterfront, the western side of Manhattan there is the southern part of the 750-mile Empire State Trail. So um, that's a great way to experience, I think, just the diversity of topography and geography that you're going to see on the rides. Yeah, next slide. Maybe and also just by way of just sort of introduction, I think it's safe to say that all of us here on the call tonight are excited bicyclists, right? Some of us are very experienced. We've been on bike tours all over the world. Some of you might be sort of new to long distance bike touring. But what I really love about these rides is that so much comes together, right? You see New York State like you've never seen it before, even from people who have spent their whole lives in New York State, right? The joy of riding a bike is something that's near and dear to me, and I know many of you. It's a magical thing. I remember as a 10-year-old seeing the Wright Brothers Museum on the Outer Banks there in North Carolina, and just thinking it was pretty cool that the folks who invented flight pretty much had that sense of flight in their hearts. I'm sure from bicycling. I think like many of us do. Um, but really, there's no better way to see the world in my view. I've been lucky to ride long distance in India and Africa and lots of parts of the United States. And I don't think there's really any better place, frankly, to see history, to see nature, and of course to meet your fellow riders. And while I'm waxing romantic, the last thing I'll say about the rides and about bicycling is another thing I think is unique to cycle the Hudson Valley and cycle the Erie Canal, where you get into this very symbiotic and sort of synergistic relationship between you and your bike and the communities that you're going through. There's this energy that feeds off of itself where they love that you're there. Increasingly, communities all throughout New York, especially those on the Empire State Trail, look to the Greenway and the Greenway network as their future. It's their future for their community. It's in community building. It's their future for their economies. They hope that their kids will stay in the community because of these great facilities. So you're going to pick up on that energy that people have in New York. They're increasingly optimistic about the future of their Greenway network, and your participation in this ride is going to feed you a million different ways. I'm not just talking about banana and peanut butter sandwiches, but you're going to be feeding the people along the route too, and you'll pick up on that virtuous cycle of emotion, if you will. Um, so I'm also very lucky at Parks and Trails New York because we have the best team working today in public interest, environmental, natural advocacy. Dylan Carey, really to use a sports metaphor, he's our sixth man, right? He does it all for us. Not only is he our sort of CFO, right, but he may be the person in New York State who knows the most about the statewide Greenway Trail network. There's people who would dispute that from a regional point of view, but I think most would concede that Dylan really has tons of historic planning, other types of knowledge, budget knowledge, about how we're going to find the money to expand the network, right? So really lucky to have Dylan helping us, lead the team. Erica Schneider, who you often hear in the same breath as Dylan because they're both planners. They're both master's level planners. And Erica's actually working on her master's thesis on trail-oriented development. So how can communities along the trail pursue zoning and land use policies that helps them get more out of the trail itself? Tara Quackenbush and I both have environmental science master's degrees, and we're both gardeners, so we have that in common. But you'll see Tara doing it all on the ride, keeping the ride running smoothly, and also fielding questions leading up to the rides. If you can't find the answer in the FAQ or on our website, Tara's there for you. I met Rob Panzera in San Diego. Gosh, when was it, Rob? Like 2011 or something? Rob I don't know anyone working in bicycling today, in the bike biz today, who can put on a better event than Rob. He does it all from charity rides to like training rides for races. He's a formidable climber, Rob. I don't know if you'll actually see him climb on the ride, and maybe if you're on the Erie Canal ride, you won't see any climbs at all, pretty much. A couple of gentle hills. But we're very lucky to have Rob as our ride director for both rides this year, and he really did an amazing job last year and really understands what makes these rides special and how to give you an amazing experience. I think it's true that last year we heard just effusive feedback from everyone involved that we just put on such a great ride, and you'll get, I think, a sense of heartfelt hospitality too from this amazing team. Is this my last slide or do I have another one? It's about PTNY, right? Is the next? Yes, there we are. Okay, so super quick before I turn it back over to Dylan. As I mentioned, you're going to be experiencing communities along the way and helping them level up their own enthusiasm and understanding of the incredible asset they have in the Empire State Trail. But you're also helping Parks and Trails New York, right? We are a small but mighty organization. We have about a dozen of us, so you're meeting like virtually half of our staff here tonight. But the one thing I'll mention about Parks and Trails, besides the fact that we're awesome, is that we make sure the money is there, right? We make sure the money is there for the park system. We advocate and lobby in the state budget to make sure that the resources to continue this amazing network of state parks and greenways, we make sure that money is there. And we also provide tangible grants, like smaller money, not billions, right? But like hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to these beautiful local volunteer-led stewards across the state, friends groups. Many of you are aware, some of you are involved in local friends groups. We have a $2.5 million grants fund that we do for the friends groups every year. High impact, small projects. We also give grants to trail towns, mostly rural, sort of small towns throughout New York, mostly in Western New York, but we're expanding it. that give them the resources they need to start doing small amenities and planning and making connections to the trail to, again, help those communities get more out of these lovely facilities that you're going to be riding. So, looking forward to seeing all of you this summer. And I really can't say enough about this team and the movement. It is a movement, it's a large movement to make sure that every New Yorker has an opportunity to have a safe, nature infused bike ride daily if they choose, right? So, really, our mission is to make these experiences much more ubiquitous in people's lives. So, thank you for contributing to this movement and for joining us on Cycle the Erie Canal and/or Cycle the Hudson Valley. Over to you, Dylan.
Thanks, Paul. So a quick rundown of what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to give a quick overview of the Empire State Trail and the two trails that provide the sort of the spine on which each of these two tours ride. After that, we're going to hear a little bit more about the tours themselves, what the itineraries are, what to expect along the way, what kind of amenities that our organized tours include in them. We've got a couple of folks on the call. The folks that Paul didn't introduce, who you see on video, are past riders and or past volunteers who I think are coming back to join us hopefully again this year as well. We're going to talk for just a little bit about some of their experience in joining one of our tours. So, and then we'll have plenty of time at the end for Q&A. I know a lot of folks have questions either about the registration process, about a specific aspect or element of our bike rides. So, yeah, so I'm going to jump right in. And give you a quick overview about the Empire State Trail, because I know for some folks, what is the Empire State Trail? What is the distinction between the Empire State Trail and the Erie Canalway Trail? Those are that can be a little bit confusing for folks. So the Empire State Trail is basically this giant T. It's a statewide trail system that consists of three main legs: the Erie Canalway Trail, the Hudson River Valley Trail, and the Champlain Valley Trail. And it's a combination of both on-road routes and off-road routes. This map's a couple of years out of date. There are a couple of additional stretches of off-road trail that have been constructed since this was this map was created, but it's generally holds true today. And it was completed. It was a project by New York State completed in 2020. It established the 750-mile route, and they added 58 projects, added 180 miles of new trail when establishing the Empire State Trail, and built 45 gateways and trailheads. It was an investment of $200 million of state money that was matched by an additional $100 million of local money, federal money, of a combination of other sources. And I bring all of this up not just to sort of give the broader framing of the Empire State Trail and help everybody be aware of it, but because it really came to be because of Cycle the Erie Canal. Cycle the Erie Canal started 28 years ago, and it was started originally as a way to bring attention to the idea that you could have the Erie Canalway Trail, which you see on the screen now. You could have this continuous corridor that runs from Buffalo to Albany that connects communities along the way, that the former towpath of the old Erie Canal, of either the current routing of it or of one of the historic routings of it, could be repurposed as a place for people to safely walk and bike. And since that intrepid group of first riders back in 1999 did the first Cycle the Erie Canal ride through to today, we've helped make the case for why building out a statewide trail network should be a priority for our state government and for our state leaders. So looking at the the Canalway Trail today, it's about 45% paved, about 40% stone dust, and there's still about 14% of it is on road. I'll note that these are the percentages for the trail itself. It's not necessarily the percentages that is the breakdown of exactly what our tours follow, because we do go off trail a couple of times to get to some of our overnight camping locations, or to get to some of the places that we've got our rest stops along the way. Our newer tour, Cycle the Hudson Valley, this will be its fourth year, but it's really coming along strong. We've had a lot of folks give great feedback on it. I was able to ride it myself last year and had a great time. It really is a wonderful way to experience the Hudson Valley, which of course has this added historic element that everybody will be able to experience in 2026, as so much of Revolutionary War era history is in the Hudson Valley, and of course next year being the 250th of our nation's independence. So The Hudson River Valley Greenway is more paved. You can see the breakdown there. There is a little bit more that's still on road. And the other bigger distinction I'll make is while the Erie Canalway Trail is generally flat, there's a couple of hills that we have to climb to get up to our campsites, but they're relatively small hills. The Hudson River Valley Greenway is a little hillier. The route does go in and out of the river valley a little bit more. If you're comfortable climbing on your bike, it's nothing that you'd find challenging, but there is a little bit more of elevation change during each of the days riding on the Hudson River Valley Greenway. So, excuse me. So that's the overview of the two legs of the Empire State Trail. And with that, we're going to turn it over to the PTNY bike tours. But I think, Erica, before we jump to you, Amy, do you want to chime in and say hi and give your experience? Amy is one of our longtime volunteers Amy gives me a big hug whenever I see her, and I give her a big hug back because we love having her on the tours, and it's wonderful to have her join. So, Amy, it looks like you're still muted if you're able to unmute in Zoom, and we can hear from you.
Okay.
There we go.
Hi there. Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Oh, good, because I can't see myself. So thank you, Dylan. And thank you, Paul, as well, and everybody on the PTNY team. So yes, I've participated in PTNY cycling tours since 2010. I am a repeat, just love coming to each summer to see my friends. That's the one beautiful thing about coming each year, and it's a reunion for us, especially us volunteers, because we love this ride so much that we just established these amazing friendships over the course of time. And my motto is, I wrote it down because I knew this would happen: friends for life are formed on the Erie Canal. And seriously, I mean, I'm a New Yorker, but I have friends from Massachusetts and Maine and New Jersey and Florida and Ohio. I mean, I have friends everywhere, and how lucky am I to have that? And so it's really a great experience on that perspective. One thing that I really hold dear about this ride, especially Cycle the Erie Canal, it just progressively gets better and better and better. PTNY does take all of our suggestions, both rider and volunteer suggestions, to heart. So their goal is to improve the experience for riders each year. And us volunteers also enjoy that. Our goal is to make sure that everybody has a great vacation. It's our vacation too, but it's really our goal is to make sure everybody has a great time. So if everybody's having a great time, we know we're doing our job well. But each year everything just improves every year. And it could be the slightest little things, from a rest stop change, a venue, or even just the route getting better. Just a little, okay, we're going to turn right here instead of turn left there. I mean, it can improve so much. And even catering, it could be just a slight catering change. Every year, there's just something that gets better and better and better and wants everybody to return. And then on a personal level, I mean, cycling, especially the Erie Canal, although I have to say, I also cycled the Hudson Valley as well. And that is an accomplishment, because if you are one like who I am, who's a flatlander, cycling up and down those beautiful hills through the countryside, and seeing all kinds of apple orchards and wineries and all those great farms out there, it is an accomplishment when you reach that hill and then you get that downhill. But when you're cycling the Erie Canal, just every day is an accomplishment, and something to be proud of. And you have bragging rights to say that you cycled for 8 days for close to 400 miles. That's really, it's quite an amazing feat. And there's a map at the end of the ride, the last rest stop, which I highly recommend everybody to do, to visit. There is a wall-sized map of New York State. And if you span your arms all the way out, you can physically feel how far you've come, because you went from west to east on the entire state of New York. And as a transplant of New York from New Jersey to New York, and now I've lived in New York longer than I've lived anywhere, I've really felt like, wow, I'm proud of being a New Yorker. This is really something, and I have to hand it to PTNY, because if it wasn't for the organization, we wouldn't have these trails and we wouldn't have these experiences. So I'm proud.
Thank you, Amy. That's really
Thank
nice
you,
of you
Amy.
to say. Thank you.
Yeah, we
Sure.
appreciate that. So I'm going to hand it over to Erica to talk a little bit more, give some of the detail about what Amy shared, just about the logistics of the rides and what to expect. So Erica, take it away.
All right, yeah, and we'll kick it off with a little bit about Cycle the Erie Canal, which this year, well, as every year, is the second week of July, July 11th, 19th. So we'll be, as always, running from Buffalo to Albany, going west to east with that prevailing winds at our back. And the route is about 400 miles. You'll notice that's a little bit longer than the actual trail because we dip down to Seneca Falls to visit the birthplace of women's rights. And that typically, well, it will take the tour about 8 days, or a full 8 days, but we also have a 4-day option that ends in Syracuse. But tickets sell out really fast for that one. And most people do the 8-day option. All right, so getting into day by day, we start in Buffalo, and the day starts if you get there early enough. If you're kind of on your own timeline, you can come for one of the pre-rides. There's a ride that'll take you to downtown Buffalo, and one that's a pretty long day ride to Niagara Falls. But there's no better way to see the falls than by bike on a trail. But most people, or a big chunk of folks, will be coming from Albany on the shuttle that we arrange that you can book when you register for the tour. And that will arrive in camp in Buffalo on Sunday afternoon. And then together, everyone will you'll check in, we'll do registration, and everyone will have dinner together. We'll have a happy hour, wine tasting, live music, and a big meeting to kick things off. And usually everyone's in bed by 9 p.m. because the next day starts nice and early. And we'll ride from Buffalo to Medina. This section goes right along the Niagara River and then cuts up to Lockport, where there'll be a boat ride through the canal, through the locks, a super warm welcome. And one of the highlights of this stay is our morning rest stop is at an ice cream shop that opens especially for us at like, so you roll in at like 9 or 10 and you're like, I'm ready for my ice cream, and they are ready for you. So that night we spend in Medina and get a good night's sleep to then head to Fairport the next day, a 63-mile day. We will travel past lovely port towns through the city of Rochester and their beautiful Genesee Valley Park designed by Frederick Law Olmsted. And we'll end the day in Fairport, where we get to stay at a really cool town park that we all camp down in the field. And then the community center has a swimming pool with a water slide. I've always been a little too tired to get to that point, but I've heard really good things. Next slide. All right, so then we'll travel from Fairport to Seneca Falls. And at this point, we'll keep going along the canal for another little bit until we reach the really charming town of Clyde, where we then dip south and ride some really beautiful rolling hills through the Finger Lakes region. This stretch is really special because we'll often have some folks from the Amish community come out and sell baked goods or ice cream or chocolate milk on the side of the trail. They know we're coming every year. That's just a really special, unique moment to have. And then we end in Seneca Falls, where you get to go downtown, check out some of the local restaurants, and visit the Women's Rights Museum, the It's a Wonderful Life Museum. If you've never been to Seneca Falls, it's the inspiration for that classic Christmas movie that maybe you'll watch this winter and then be ready to see the town in real life. And then the next day, that Wednesday, we'll ride from Seneca Falls to Syracuse. And this is when we'll come back up through the Finger Lakes and rejoin the trail, which will take us to Syracuse, our halfway point on the ride. We'll say goodbye to our 4-day riders and send them off, and we will enjoy an evening in the city and celebrating our halfway mark. The next day is 50 miles from Syracuse to Rome. And this is a really awesome stretch. It's right along the old Erie Canal State Historic Park. So it's a preserved section of the old canal that you can really picture what it would have been like 200 years ago, or nearly 200. And then this evening we get to spend in the city of Rome that's always so welcoming. Last year, they threw us a huge block party. They closed down downtown, invited the whole community out to celebrate both the ride and just bicycling in Rome. And what's super special also is we get to sleep in the Fort Stanwix National Monument. So get more of that Revolutionary War history for the 250th. Next slide. And then we'll continue at this point into the Mohawk Valley, which is very much the vibes change to be more, you get more hills on either side of us. And we follow more of the old railroad corridors that went through this area. So we'll hit the city of Little Falls, pictured here. It's super cute. They have converted a bunch of their old mill buildings into antique stores and cafes, and they always love to see us. And then the rest of the day is just riding along the stunning Mohawk River with wildflowers and just these green hills off in the distance. It's beautiful. And then that night we land in Canajoharie. We have a really fun chicken dinner by local barbecue legend Brooks. And then the next day we ride to Schenectady. So we're already in our second to last day. We keep riding along the Mohawk River, get to Schoharie Crossing State Historic Site. You'll sense a theme of really getting the history of the area. But each of these sites and museums really opens their doors for us and make sure that you get to really understand the history around you. So in Schoharie Crossing, you get to see all 3 versions of the historic Erie Canal at once. Then we end that night in Schenectady. And as our last night all together, we have a big party. We have a talent show. We give awards. Any kids that are on the tour usually put together something really special to kind of showcase their experience. And it's just a way to celebrate how far we've all come together with all of your new friends. Because the next day we just ride 30 miles into Albany to our finish line in downtown Albany. And we end usually, late morning, early afternoon. You get to hang out a little bit, celebrate your accomplishment. And then if you've booked the end shuttle, you'll hop on the shuttle and head back to Buffalo if that's where you left your car. Did I miss anything, rest of the team, that you want to highlight?
I think
I noticed it's not raining in any of those photos you show. There's no rain.
Oh, it never rains, and
Right.
It's never hot, and there's never any bugs.
We're going to have a chance to talk a bit about more of the amenities included as registering for the ride and some of the things along the way. And also, I think that's one of the great things that we always hear from folks is there's the stuff that they know they're supposed to experience, like the major sites, but then there's always the unexpected sites, things that they didn't really know until they know that they were going to come across until they got to it. And I think that it's always great because everybody has a different experience. Everybody has different things that they discover for the first time when riding the Erie Canal. Even folks that have ridden it multiple times. We've had folks that have ridden Cycle the Erie 10, 15, even 20 times, and they keep coming back and riding it again. So,
yeah, you always see something new.
Yep.
And so if you have ridden Cycle the Erie, maybe you want to try Cycle the Hudson Valley this year too. Is a new way to see New York State. And I'll keep this one a little shorter because it's a shorter tour. Next slide, please. All right, so Cycle the Hudson Valley takes us 230 miles from Troy, which is just north of Albany, all the way down to Battery Park, and then Brooklyn Riverfront Park, where we have our finish line over 5 days. Next slide.
Click.
Can you get the slide, Dylan?
Yeah, it's up for me. Is it not working for you?
It hasn't switched over yet.
That's annoying.
Okay,
There are
I
worse
just saw
slides
some
to get
action. There
stuck
we
on.
go.
Oh, that's good.
All right.
All right. Okay, there we go.
All right.
So we'll start the ride in Troy, kind of like Cycle to Erie. We all gather up there at Hudson Valley Community College. That's our starting point. And if you get there early enough, there's a pre-ride that you can do down the local rail trail. Otherwise, we'll all gather. You'll check in, and we'll have our opening dinner and music to kick things off. So then we'll jump into our first day where we'll go down the Albany Hudson Electric Trail down to Hudson. This was a project of the Empire State Trail that follows a old trolley corridor. It's super scenic through small towns with great coffee shops and bagel shops, ice cream aplenty, and it'll take you right past Olana State Historic Site, and we'll end the night in at another community college. That's, if anyone's wondering why we do these tours in the summer when maybe people are thinking, oh, you're doing it during the heat of the year, it's because we have these wonderful schools that allow us to put up our overnight tent camps there. So that's one of the big reasons we do these rides in the summer, in addition to the warm days, sunny days, and cool nights. All right, so then the next day, Hudson to New Paltz, we'll go a little over 50 miles. And this stretch is a little bit more on-road riding, but honestly, it's one of my favorite types of riding in New York State. It's rolling hills through apple orchards, and you just really get a sense for that Hudson Valley feel. It wouldn't be the same without it. And we go through historic Kingston, and then end the day in New Paltz. You get to ride the super cool Rosendale Trestle pictured here. Really well-preserved bridge where you can see the whole valley. And New Paltz, as an overnight, is a really fun college town with lots to do. Next day is 60 miles, our longest day of the ride, from New Paltz to Carmel, almost exclusively on rail trails. You get to see walkway over the Hudson, go through Poughkeepsie, and then ride the Maybrook Trailway, which is one of the most remote sections of the trail, but is stunningly beautiful with wetlands on either side, and one of my favorite stretches. Moving on from Carmel to Dobbs Ferry, our second to last day is just 40 miles. And this is when you start really feeling like you're getting close to the city. And you get to see some of the city's reservoirs and water sources. That's one of these bridges. This bridge in the picture is right over one of the reservoirs. So that's a cool aspect of that day. And then we have our end of ride social that night with the talent show and end of ride dinner to celebrate what you've all done all week long, all that cycling. And then the last day is similar to Cycle to Erie, just 30 miles riding straight into the city. And if you're nervous about riding in New York City, I would say don't be. It's on trail or it's really well marked roadways. So it really is the best way to see New York City from the back of the bike. You can take your photo at Battery Park with the endpoint trailhead of the Empire State Trail, and then cross the Brooklyn Bridge to our finish line, and then hang out there for a little bit, maybe grab some ice cream, and then our shuttle bus, if you've booked that, will take you right back to Albany, or you can go on from there via train or any other form of transport that you need. So that sums up Cycle to Hudson Valley, and with that, well, I guess Dylan, I'll let you make the transition.
Yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Rob, our ride director, who's going to talk through what signing up for one of our bike tours means, what's included, why we think signing up for a bike tour is a better option than maybe doing it on yourself, what being part of the ride entails. So Rob, take it away.
Thanks, Dylan. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a real treat to be part of the PTNY family and do the ride and have the support that's going to be outlined in the next few slides, which I'm sure a lot of folks on this webinar are interested in. So we have mechanical support. They're there to help you, meaning we have SAG vehicles, drivers, which roam around, and they can be requested to help. We also have bike SAG folks on bikes which will be there to kind of help you if you have any mechanic problems. Then we also have mechanics teams. This is we say it's optional because there is a cost if there's mechanical support, but it's very reasonable. And they understand like what you're going through and how things need to be changed if it's something needs to be charged or if it's like a lesser charge. Your luggage is transported every day, which is great. Just get your tent, get your gear on the truck, and our great team of volunteers will get it to the next spot. We're waiting for you when you arrive at the next camp. And then on the actual routes and trails, we have daily maps with some highlighted areas you might want to check out. We kind of give some clues to things to check out, which we talk through in our morning briefings. There's cue sheets, turn by turns. And then also we have a robust ride with GPS downloadable to download to your phone so you can follow the route and look at the map online or to your cycling computer. And then we have a great team that before the event goes out and paints the route and puts out arrows for us to follow, along with the team during the tour, which confirms those. They go out before you leave in the morning. Like as you're eating breakfast, they're out there kind of confirming those marks one last time. And then, of course, prior to departure, we have a great info packet, which includes training tips to prepare you for the ride. Meals. I mean, this is key. When you're with us, you're fed. You're fed very well, actually. We have 2 daily rest stops led by our crack staff under Lois, who's really done a great job over the years of like getting these rest stops dialed in and a great team. There's 2 stops every day. We call it the AM and PM, but it's really a first and second rest stops, and it's loaded with. It's impossible to go hungry. That's all I'm going to say. There's a lot of variety. They take a lot of pride in these great rest stops, and it really shows. And they're always at great locations too. A lot of times they're at locations where you want to see something historic. The communities really engage, which I think is special. There's nothing like 700 people showing up to your town, and these people really turn out to make it special at these rest stops. And then, of course, there's breakfast every morning provided right at camp. You wake up, go right to breakfast, and it'll be there for you, plenty to eat there. And then we do 6 provided dinners, and this is on Cycle Erie Canal. The other 2 dinners, you're on your own, meaning we have either dinners walkable or we have shuttle buses continuously running to get you to places to dine so you can experience the town. And a good example of that is Seneca Falls. They love to have us come. They have a lot of restaurant options, and we just run continuous shuttles. In Hudson Valley, it's 5 breakfasts. Every morning you get a breakfast, and then 3 provided dinners. And again, the night you have off, we have shuttles that take you to town so you can eat dinner. And then there's a lot of opportunities to eat local. We don't have a lunch. We don't really actually have a lunch because we have those 2 great rest stops, but we really do want you to go into the towns and have lunch and meet people and get to experience the community. A lot of these communities enjoy us coming through, depend on the trail, whether it's us or other people coming through to support their economy. So there's a lot of opportunities to eat local and meet people. Entertainment, we have some great guides. Cycle Erie Canal. If you were there last year, Derek and Steph did a great job on Erie Canal. History, whether it's doing a morning talk, whether it's meeting somewhere to explain something further, a further historical element. That's on Hudson Valley. We're going to bolster that this year. We're going to have a little bit more Hudson River School of Painting, some art talks. We're going to have some Revolutionary War history. So you have tour guides, and of course, people from PTNY are on this call are great guides as well. They're very well versed on the areas we go through, and they're very interested in letting you know about a lot of information in the area. When you get to camp, when you're with us, there's entertainment. A lot of times we have live music. We usually have historic presentations. And there's always something fun to do at camp, and we keep it lively depending on when you arrive. And a lot of times we just run shuttles, even if it's a dinner at camp night, we'll run shuttles to let you get to things in town and check out local sites, even if it's to go to a local pool or check out a local site. And then lots of guided tours along the way, as I mentioned, to historic sites, museums, and other attractions. Where do you stay? There's indoor and outdoor camping. Outdoor camping is, as Erica mentioned, we have these lovely schools we go to or lovely sites, and you actually camp. We have a field, and you camp, and you're set up. You're going to go to the luggage truck, get your gear, set up your tent, and you're good to go. Indoor, it's usually a gymnasium. Sometimes we have churches. Sometimes it's a hall, but we provide indoor options so that you can roll out a mat and a bag. And the indoor spaces are great too if you want to. If it's a hot day, cool off. A lot of times they might be air conditioned. It's a place to maybe find a chair to sit in outside of your tent. So we always have indoor options as well. There's always a shower available, whether it's our great shower truck provided by Northern Exposures or Imperial on Hudson Valley, or locker rooms. We always have an option to change and shower, which is great right at camp. Always bathrooms or porta-johns I think someone mentioned the great thing about uh, Erie Canal, maybe it was Erie Canal or Hudson, that every day there's always fresh porta johns. Like it's not like these have been around for, like it's a fresh one. So we always have great clean restrooms for you. There's an e-bike charging station. I'm sure there's quite a few on here that are interested in e-bike information. We have e-bike charging right at camp. So you just bring your bike over, bring your battery over, and you can charge it up. And then we work hard to find pools at select sites, whether they're near the site or you take a shuttle to, because it's in the summer, it's always great to get into a pool. Next slide. Thank you, Dylan. Optional transportation. There's a shuttle, and I think I saw there was a question in the Q&A about that. From Albany at the start on SeaTech to Buffalo, and then at the finish from Albany back to Buffalo. This is an extra fee, but these shuttles are great. They're clean coaches that take us there. We have a good system down to get you from there, and also transport for your bike. So you show up, you bring your luggage, you get on the shuttle, and you get your bike on a truck, and we get your bike there too. There's a four-day shuttle in the middle of Erie Canal from Syracuse to Buffalo for those doing the 4-day option. Get to camp, we get you on the shuttle, get your bike on the shuttle, and move you back to Buffalo. And then Hudson Valley, it's a bit different. We have one from NYC to the starting line in Troy for those in the city, or those that traveled to the city. We had a couple of people last year that actually traveled to New York, then caught the shuttle up to Troy. So that's an option if you need a way to get up to Troy. And then, of course, from the finish line in the city, from NYC up to Troy. You can put those questions in the Q&A too. We'll answer them for sure at the end. Bike shipping and rentals. There's always an option. We always have a provider that does bike shipping, that you could actually get your bike shipped or shipped to. Sometimes we want to ship their bikes to Albany or Buffalo if they're coming from out of state, for example. And this year we're working on rentals too. We're going to have an option where you can rent a bike, and with the rental, basically, they'll meet you in Buffalo and get you set up, and you'll roll away, and then they'll grab the bike from you in Albany for SeaTech, and then for Hudson, it'll be they'll have it up for you in Troy, and then they'll grab it in NYC. We have safe, convenient, long-term parking. We have nice relationships with Buffalo State through one of our great volunteers, Amy. She's helped us secure a great long-term parking in Buffalo. Albany, the parking authority has provided us a nice garage. And then also when we do Hudson Valley, the college HVCC provides nice parking. And then we have a great add-on service. It's separate, but it's connected to us. It's a great vendor called Comfy Campers. This is the system I use, actually. There's a fee, and they basically set your tent up. They blow up your air mattress. You grab your gear, you go over there, and basically your camp's ready to go. There's a chair over there. They have a clean towel, and it's a really wonderful thing. Their registration's separate. You can get to it from our website, but they open on January 1st for their registration. So look for their registration for that service to open on January 1st.
All right. With that, I think we're going to hand it over to Tara to talk us through some of the important information about joining Cycle the Erie or Cycle the Hudson Valley.
Yeah. Thank you, Dylan. Thanks, colleagues. Thank you, volunteers. Amy, it's so good to see your face and hear your voice again. And thanks to all the cyclists and prospective cyclists that are joining today. It really does take every one of these individuals coming together to create this moving celebratory organism across the state and through the communities. So I really appreciate and I'm grateful for every one of you. What to pack? So if you aren't signing up for the Comfy Campers service, which I do suggest if you are signing up for that, do so quickly because they sell out fairly quickly after they open up registration. But so if you're not signing up for them, definitely bring a tent. You definitely want to bring your bicycle, right, to pedal. And what we would recommend when people ask what kind of bicycle, the one that's comfortable for you that you've been using. Make sure though, if in doubt about your tires, we would suggest getting new tires to reduce the likelihood that you would have any additional need for repairs. So good bike, bring your tent, bring sleeping bag, clothing that's appropriate for all types of weather. I think most importantly with what to bring, and we will have more tips on that in a handbook that you'll receive in the first monthly rider email that you'll receive over the winter time. We ask that your luggage is no more than 40 pounds. We don't limit the number of bags that you bring. Ideally, you're only bringing a couple or three because it's less for everybody to keep track of, including yourselves. So try to keep it to 2, 3 bags under 40 pounds. Um, yeah, I think those are the main tips for luggage, other than make sure they're labeled too and waterproof. And no bungee cords around them, no attaching things to the outside. So those are my best tips for what to pack. Check-in. So on day 0, either tour, you'll come to the check-in, grab your registration packet, which includes your t-shirts, your wristband, showing what type of meal that you've signed up for, whether vegetarian or whether omnivore. And then if you are joining us in for Cycle the Erie Canal, we also have pre-tour rides early in the day. So if you are joining us in Buffalo and not taking the shuttle from Albany to Buffalo, unfortunately, folks joining for the Albany to Buffalo tour, we get there after the pre-ride. But if you start in Buffalo early that day, you can go on the pre-rides. We'll have an info tent that's there alongside registration, where we're there to answer your questions, give you the cue sheets for the next day, and we'll offer like tech support, and we'll also have bike support set up to the side. And also merchandise tent. So if you want to get your, jersey, or if you want to get some additional merch to help you on the tour, we'll have that available. Let's see. Also, as far as camp layout goes, we'll have charging stations for your devices. I think Rob also mentioned, showers and toilets available, hydration stations. So bring your water bottles so you can fill those up. I'm drinking water out of my mug right now. You won't want to bring a mug. You'll want to bring a water bottle. Medical, we have a medical tent that's there for first aid needs. Rob already mentioned the indoor camping option. Usually folks use that during inclement weather. And then, dining. We'll have like the wayfinding signage all set up for you, so you'll get a better layout of the land when you're there on site. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so SAG safety and training tips. So we do have bike SAG support and gear and car SAG support and gear. So, if you blow a tire or something, it's good to have like a patch of your own in your own kit. But we do have other folks that we can have on the ride who are there, who will be able to come in and jump in on support and car SAG if there's any like larger issues that needs to like advance you from one place to the overnight or to the rest stop. We have daily safety briefings. Our like amazing volunteers will go over all of the like signage for safety. Or I mean like, motions for safety so that everybody is operating using the same symbols. And yeah, so we'll give some safety briefings. Training tips we have in the handbook too, that you'll get like a month-by-month breakdown of how many miles you should be orienting yourself toward to make sure that you're well prepared for the tour. But those will be in the handbook as well. And then we also have mention here of the Ride with GPS app. So we will send out how you can sign up for that. And that would be very supportive to you, and you're making sure that you're able to find one place to another in addition to the marking that's on the routes. Indoor camping, we mentioned the options for indoor camping each night or in gyms, hallways, rinks, churches, etc. In our emergency alert system, I really want to stress signing up for this. We use the Rained Out app, and we don't only use it for emergencies, but that's its like primary use. We'll also use it to send out pertinent information, like if anything changes that day to a route or something that we want to make sure everyone's aware of immediately. Again, more information about that in the handbook because each tour, you're given a different code and you just text it and then you get those automatic updates. And then if we're in a confined space, all of a sudden you'll hear everyone's phone blowing up with the information that's going across. So there will be an evacuation location at each camp if necessary, and then, procedures in place for any storm warning. So that'll all come through the emergency alert system. Next slide.
Yeah, and now.
Yeah, cool.
Good.
Rob, is this back to you?
So actually, I'm going to turn it over to Ian, who's one of our past riders, to
Oh,
talk briefly about his experience in bringing his kids along on some of our Cycle to Erie rides in the past. So Ian, if you want to just share some of your experience.
Yeah, real quickly. Hi, everybody. I'm Ian Demerit. Our family's done it 3 times, the Erie Canal ride. The first time we did it, we had little kids. Our youngest was 4, 7, and 10. And then we did it again. We've done it 3 times since then. And so we've got experience doing it with teenagers and also really young kids. And, the first year we did it, we really didn't know what to expect. It was, we went into it with the attitude that, if we have to drop out and head home, we'll do that. But, right after we got off the shuttle in Buffalo, it became, really apparent how open and welcoming and how well organized and supported the ride actually is. It's it sounds like 400 miles is a lot, but really when you break it down into really small goals, you've got all day long to go 40, 50, 60 miles. And not only that, but there's rest stops every 15 miles and places to stop and ice cream stops. So, it's really about small goals, taking your time, having fun, especially with kids, giving them something to look forward to. Most of the overnight stops have swimming pools, which is always a big hit. But yeah, it's definitely a great experience. And now that my kids are applying to colleges now, that it's one of those things that gets added to college essays too. So it's a really great experience. I would, if I'd had 2 pieces of advice, it's especially with kids, train. Our goal was always do at least one 50-mile ride before the actual ride because you want to make sure that the kids can actually do that mileage and without complaining too much. And also test out your equipment. You don't want to find out at 3 o'clock in the morning when a thunderstorm is rolling through Syracuse that your tent's not waterproof. So but I think those are the biggest things. It's a fantastic ride, especially with kids. I think Dylan or somebody mentioned that 90% of the route is off-road, which is great with kids because you don't have to worry about traffic or cars. You just have to worry about other riders. But it's a great ride, great community, super well supported, great food. So I can't recommend it enough. The reason we did it 3 times is the kids begged to keep going back and doing it again.
Well, thank you, Ian, for chiming in. Paul, I don't know if you wanted to.
I was going to say, Ian, your check for your discount for next year's ride is in the mail. Thank you. That was a ringing endorsement.
Yeah, we really
Yeah,
appreciate
it's a ringing
it.
endorsement.
And we hope that folks who are on the call that haven't come yet and are considering coming, if you've got kids that you're interested in potentially coming with, our hope is that, hearing from folks like Ian who have had his family on the ride, really can help you, understand that this is a ride that is welcoming to all ages. You don't need to have past experience in doing bike touring. Cycle the Erie and Cycle the Hudson Valley, we really intend them to be sort of the entry level bike touring options. So some great options, and we're always working, like Amy said, to make the rides better year after year. I think for the next, we're going to turn it back to Tara to just walk really quickly, because I know we are running a little bit long on time, really quickly through the process of registration, because I know this is something that some folks have questions on. So Tara,
Yeah.
do you want to take it away?
Sure. Yeah, thanks. This is just really brief. So you can see the registration page if you go to ptny.org, click under events, you'll see our tours, and then you can pick which one that you're registering for, both, but individually. So that's the page that you'll see, and registration officially open today. So if you click on there to register, you'll see this pop-up that comes up first, which says log into your existing account. You'll do that if you already have an account with us at PTNY. You can put your login and password. If you don't have an account with us, don't worry about it. You don't need one to register. So you just X-ray it out of that, as you can see at the top right-hand corner of that pop-up. So, and once you click on that, then you'll see X out of that or log in, you'll see this page right here. And we just have right here displaying the most important part. There are a number of questions that you do need to answer, and please do fill it out completely so we get all the information that we need to best support you on the tour, including these event sessions. So, with C-Tech, we do have the 8-day or the 4-day option. And if you're registering as an adult, please make sure right now it's going to be the early bird adult option. If you register before March 31st, whether it's CTHV or C-Tech, it's an early bird price. April 1st, the price does go up a little bit. So register now. Tell your friends to register now so you get that early bird price. And then if you need parking, you'll see a little box right there to pick where you want your parking, whether it's the beginning of the tour, or the end of the tour, if you're a 4-day rider, or if it's CTHV, you'll see that option too. It's just going to look a little different. And then shuttle bus. Again, you'll want to pick whether it's the beginning of the ride or the end of the ride. So you just click on the drop-down box and pick the option that you need. And please, if you're an e-bike rider, click on the additional fee. We do have, charging stations that we set up. It requires additional labor to make sure that you're able to use those. So please click on that. And then otherwise, once you fill everything out, it'll take you to your registration summary. You'll see all the costs and what you've picked on your ticket lined up. And at the very bottom, in order to complete the registration and officially make payment for it, you'll see the complete registration option at the bottom. And you also see right there, if you're looking to support PTNY and more Greenway trails for even better rides, knowing that we're a nonprofit and we do operate on your generosity, if you would be so willing to give an additional donation, there's an area right there for you to do so. So that's my quick registration tips.
Thank you, Tara. We've got one more guest on the line. I think Bruce is still on, who was a first-time rider just last summer, and I think is going to share a little bit about his experience joining us and why he would encourage others to join as well. So Bruce, if you're still on, do you want to share?
Sure. Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So last year was my first time doing the Erie Canal and my first time doing any ride like this. I had a great time. I did it by myself, and I felt like it was pretty easy to meet people and make friends. Everybody's kind of in a good mood, and I know I just felt like everybody's really positive. Like if you go to stop in one of the towns and you get a little souvenir, people will ask about it, they'll compliment it. Yeah, just a great kind of social experience. I was also really impressed with the history side of it. I'm not really that into history, don't consider myself like an enthusiast or a buff or anything like that, but we had a couple of historians that did the ride with us, and just kind of hearing about like every little town had its own unique story that wasn't just kind of hearing the same thing over and over again. It was they were building this canal and they needed all of these resources to actually make the canal. So while they're doing it, they're pulling up the concrete and they're getting the sandstone and the whatever else they needed to make the whole thing work. So you kind of get this picture of like something that really helped build early America, and I thought that was really cool. So I had a great time, and I think you will too.
Great. Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it. And hopefully we see you again next summer back on the rides. So with that, that's the sort of the end of the presentation piece. We do have time for Q&A. I know some folks have been putting questions into the Q&A form already, and some of the team on the line have been answering. But if you do have any additional questions, you can type them in the Q&A box now. You can put them in chat. I know one question that was posted was asking about what happens if you fall and can't continue the ride, as well as what happens if once you're using the phone charging stations, whether or not you need to stand there while it's charging. So we do have the SAG is the support and gear that that Tara mentioned. We've got both car SAG options and bike SAG options. So folks will be there to assist you if you're unable to continue your ride on that day. We'll be able to help you get to camp. And make sure that you're able to, assess whether or not you're going to be able to continue the ride beyond those days, or if you have to make some other accommodation. But yeah, so we generally want to make sure that everybody is safe and able to continue the ride. In terms of the charging stations at camp each night, we have these very cool charging trees that have space for I would guess probably 60 devices and that you're able to plug in, and you don't need to stay with them. They're generally safe. We do encourage that you label them, that you put your name on a piece of tape to make sure that folks know what's yours. If there's especially if you're using like an external battery to then charge your device during the following day's ride. A lot of those look very similar, so just making sure that somebody doesn't accidentally take yours thinking that it's theirs. But no, you don't need to stay with those. Another question I see in the chat is about the e-bike policy. So we will have that posted on our website, the details of that. But basically, we welcome Class 1 e-bikes, consistent with state law. Those are pedal assist e-bikes where the pedal assist cuts out after 20 miles an hour. We do remind folks that everyone on our tour needs to abide by posted trail rules. So many sections of the trail actually do have a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. We do also require that anybody riding on our tour wear a helmet. But yeah, e-bikes are allowed. One note I'll make is that we do require that if you're going to be bringing an e-bike on our shuttle, that you take the battery off and keep it with you on the shuttle itself, and don't have the battery on the truck itself as you're when you're loading it up or and getting to go. And that's so that the battery can stay in the air conditioned shuttle, because the back of the truck can get kind of hot during the middle of July or August. There's more detail in the e-bike policy that is if it's not on our website, and I do apologize for folks that have been looking for stuff on our website. We have a great brand new website that we just launched last month, but we're still working on making sure all of the relevant information makes its way over from our old website. So if there's a question you have that you don't see the answer to on our website, please feel free to reach out. You can send an email to cycletours@ptny.org or to ptny@ptny.org, or you can give Tara a call. You can reach Tara through our main office number, 518-434-1583. And you don't need to memorize those. Those are on the following slide. I'll show that in just a second. But any other questions folks have? I know a lot of the questions have been answered in the chat. A couple of things that I just want to flag is that some folks have asked about options for staying in hotels or B&Bs near camp. We don't necessarily have relationships set up with places, but there's a lot of options for folks to book their own overnight accommodations. The only thing is that you then need to get yourself to and from the campsite, to the Airbnb and back each day to be able to load your luggage or to get the things that you need for the evening. I did see another one just come in, but I think it got answered. Somebody asked about the slides. Yes, we are going to post the recording on YouTube, and we'll see about making the slides available as well. There is a discounted rate for children. We have a good discount for kids from 6 to 17, and then brand new this year, we've actually made kids 5 and under are free to bring. So we do want to see families joining. We want to see more folks having the kind of experience that Ian and his kids had. And it's only a little bit because we want the kids to convince their parents to keep bringing them back year after year. Because we definitely want to make sure that the folks are able to experience the state and experience our great bike tours. Mark has asked if it's in our plans to do the Champlain section one day. It's definitely something we're exploring. We want to make sure that we get the Hudson ride, well established and have a few years under our belt with that. And then, we're going to look into the Hudson ride. The Champlain section is a lot more on road. So our priorities is working on getting some more of the Greenway Trail built through that section, which is something that our advocacy, with all of your support by signing up for these tours, is able to do. And then we'll work on having a third leg of the Empire State Trail ride available for that. We are always looking at other options for rides because we know that, much like all of you, we can't think of a better way to spend some time each during the summer than out on our bikes. You'll typically see one or more of us from the PTNY team riding along with everybody. I've ridden Cycle to Erie twice now. Erica, who had to leave for a class, has ridden it a couple of times as well. And a bunch of other folks on staff have ridden some or all of it. All right. So I'm going to move this along to this last slide here. You can see the email address. You can see the phone number. We had one last question come in about sleeping sites and accommodating riders who use CPAP machines. We encourage you to follow up with us directly about that. I don't have the answer to that directly off of the top of my head, but any concerns about any devices like that, we do encourage you to contact us directly, and Tara and Rob can get back to you on that. Any other questions? Cycletours.ptny.org, our phone number is there. And we encourage you all to register today. The website is there. We'll be sending up a follow-up email. And as a thank you to all of you who have joined us on this webinar, we will be including a discount code for registration for next year's rides. So keep an eye out for that follow-up email to come in, and we will hopefully see all of you out on the trail. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.